Nick Russell. Now, the second speaker for the negative team, Nick Russell, firmly believes that killing two birds in a bush with one stone is worth one in the hand, provided that hand makes light work in spoiling the broth. He also believes that an apple a day keeps the doctor away, provided that neither the apple nor the doctor falls far from the tree, and the doctor is the apple of your eye, unless you have the wool pulled over your apply eyes. Biting the bullet, the hand that feeds him, potentially the dust, and certainly more than he can chew, here's Nick Russell.
Ladies and gentlemen, why would clients turn their back on a champagne law firm and elect a local Gippsland sparkling white instead? Simple. Inefficiency. At a small firm, a client instructs a lawyer. That lawyer researches the area of the law and reverts to the client directly. At a big firm, however, a client approaches a partner who instructs a senior associate who delegates his tasks after conducting I'll start that once more, if I may. And I'm back. At a big firm, a client approaches a partner who briefs a senior associate who prepares an estimate, runs a conflict search, then delegates tasks to junior lawyers who frantically take handwritten notes and then type up their handwritten notes after passing them to their secretary to determine what those illegible hieroglyphics actually read, while the original partner is holding a partner-wide compliance committee meeting to determine whether or not it would be a good idea to get a graduate to take minutes of that compliance committee meeting. All of a sudden, the champagne firm has become a champagne tower of inefficiency and delegation. The delegation process becomes a giant game of Chinese whispers, in which is particularly difficult for solicitors entombed in Chinese walls. Especially when you work for a Chinese law firm like King & Wood Mallesons, in which case all walls and all whispers are of the Chinese variety, which can only leave you shanghaied. When it comes to law firms, the affirmative team would have you believe that a bigger firm is better than a smaller firm. Yes, Sean, small firms do have small data engine rooms with nothing but angry birds, but big firms have big digital data rooms with nothing but precedents. Yes, big firms have precedents for everything. This speech is the King & Wood Mallesons precedent number 279, open bracket, option 1, delete the previous sentence, but actually giving the... Oh, bugger. Big firms spend all their time training and using precedents. They never actually use their brains. They're the legal gym junkie bodybuilders with no practical strength. It's the small firms that are lean and hungry and match ready. Given their size, big firms have invented terminology to simplify complicated concepts. At first, I didn't quite understand this foreign language that Daniel alluded to earlier. Russell, what's your capacity? Oh, I'd say about 75 litres, give or take. Well, just because big firm lawyers use big firm lingo and made up words confidently does not mean that they're appropriate, let alone grammatically correct. Here's what big firm lawyers are actually saying when they use the following big firm lingo. Let's action that. Let's do it. Let's have a dialogue. Let's chat. High-level summary, brief summary, which would presumably mean that a low-level summary would be an in-depth summary, but that just makes no sense. Facilitate, help. Paginate, put page numbers on a document and or compete in a beauty pageant. Visibility, to know something about something. Procurement, buying stuff. Canvas, tell someone about your ideas. Synergies, shut up, that makes no sense in this context. Incentivise, that's not a word, you made that up. Oh, I'm so time poor. No, you're busy, and it's no wonder you're busy when you're using double the amount of words necessary to convey the fact that you're busy. And my God, since when was diarise a word? I think what you're trying to say... Ladies and gentlemen, the highest authority in the land indicates that diarise is not an acceptable word. And it's got a broad vocabulary. Look, I played OXO for 36 points. What's an OXO? But it accepted it, wouldn't take diarise, but would take OXO. Oh yes, I'm just going to whip up some OXO bucko. It's not a fucking word. Furthermore, small firms are a meritocracy. They don't have the cliquey little hierarchy that's inherent in big firms with big graduate intakes. Oh, you're just a second year, you can't do that. Sorry, you're not part of the Melbourne Grad Feb 2012 email list. That email wasn't meant for you. And let's call a spade, shall we? Let's have a look at the big magic circle firms, shall we? What are they? A law firm or a Harry Potter-inspired pagan cult? Or is it a reference to the magic faraway tree? Yes, let's go get some legal advice from Mr. Saucepan Head, or the Magic Pudding, or Possum Magic, or David Copperfield. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the world around us more generally. Is bigger really better? Well, tell me, which operatic sensation would you rather see perform? The 10 tenors or the 3 tenors? How many shekels would you have placed on Goliath to beat David? Who wouldn't agree that a bar fridge is just the best parts of a normal fridge smooshed into a brilliant little package? Which Batman villain was better? Danny DeVito as the Penguin or Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze? For the barristers out there, what would you rather receive? Tall orders or a brief? Who listens to music on their bulky Sony Walkman when you can listen to music on a sleek and streamlined iPod Nano? Everyone knows that Flinders Lane is far cooler than Flinders Street, and don't even get me started on how uncool the Flinders Rangers are. What would you rather have in your face? One little pimple or a million massive pimples? A little birdie always tells me things. A big bird gossips behind my back. Remind me, was it a little ray of sunshine that came into this world or a gigantic solar tsunami? While little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet, do you know what big Miss Muffet was doing? She was visiting her parole officer. And riddle me this. When the biggest boat of all time hit an iceberg and sank, what did people get into? Well, according to James Cameron, they actually got into the tuxedos first, but then what did they get into? Smaller boats. Because when it really matters, people always turn to the smaller, more reliable boats and their tuxedos. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to leave you with a small anecdote, something that happened to me just this morning. I was attending our King and Wood Mallesons Monday morning meeting, and as usual, the champagne began flowing down the champagne tower. But by the end of the champagne tower, at the very bottom, when the final drop had dribbled into the bottom layer glasses, do you know what had happened? It had all gone flat. All the big firm lawyers were left with was a big old glass of fermented grape juice, and I'll drink to that. Cheers.